Setting Mac System Preferences for My Students with Significant Disabilities by Jean Stork.
Hello, I'm Jean Stork. I teach in a computer lab for students with significant disabilities due to severe autism or severe intellectual disabilities. My students use Macintosh computers, either iMac desktops or MacBook Air laptops. This is how I make some adjustments to make the computers easier for them to use.
First, open up System Preferences under the Apple. Click the Apple System Preferences. To return to the full System Preferences window, click the rectangle on top that has all the dots in it. First, we will look at accessibility. I'm just going to show you the changes I make. Feel free to explore more on your own. Under Display, I use a fairly large cursor size, and I turn on Shake Mouse Pointer to locate. Some students play with shaking the mouse, but it helps students with attention and visual perception difficulties who can lose track of where the cursor is located on the screen. Increasing the cursor also helps my students to track where the cursor is as they're moving the mouse around. Under Audio, I place stereo audio as mono. This makes both the left and right stereo channel come through both sides of the headphone for students who hear better with one ear, so they're not missing out on a track of stereo. Under Mouse and Trackpad, I have set the double-click speed fairly fast. This reduces accidental double-clicking from my students who are happy clickers. That is, they click frequently. Back to the rest of the System Preferences. Mouse. The tracking speed is fairly fast. Double-click speed we set earlier. Turn off the little button at the top. Primary button for left and right. Primary is the left click. Turn off all additional buttons, such as these side buttons, and I turn off scrolling, which the dot can be a scroll bar. I do all of that to make it as simple as possible for my students with severe developmental delays. Some of my students are more advanced, and especially as they get older, they don't need all this turned off. It does help the majority of my students. I can always go back and make individual adjustments as needed. Under Trackpad, point and click, I've turned off everything, and the tracking speed again is fast. Scroll and zoom, I've got the scroll direction natural and everything else turned off. More gestures, everything turned off. I have found that if I don't do that, students just playing around will cause the computer to do something they don't want it to do, and then they get frustrated because it looks to them that the computer's doing its own thing. Back to all the panels. Feel free to play around. You may find things that help you. This is what helps me.
As you saw, I speed up the mouse and the trackpad so that the cursor moves fairly quickly and the mouse and trackpad don't have to move all that much. This prevents students from hitting each other with the mouse as they're moving too far to the side, moving the mouse off the table as they're dragging the mouse toward them, or even dislocating the mouse from the wire if they get frustrated because they need that extra inch and the mouse just won't move. With the trackpad, sometimes my students will actually move their finger off the pad onto the frame of the computer itself and wonder why nothing's working. Well, of course nothing's working. They're not on the trackpad, but students don't understand that, especially in the beginning. As students progress, I can give them fewer adjustments, but I tend to keep the adjustments on just because it makes my life easier. I don't have time between classes to readjust computers. but if necessary, I can always make individual adjustments. Feel free to explore and see what works best for you. Thank you.
Recorded and edited by Jean Stork using a trial version of Camtasia. But of course you knew that.